Okay, great. Welcome everyone to the first 2022 PAMA stakeholders meeting for the month of January. Our topic today is going to be development, but I did want to share for those of you who haven't been by an update on the Southside Monument, which I believe have been waiting for since 2014, which is when the previous Southside Monument was removed. Was on the southeast corner of Parsons and Livingston, and now will be located at the corner of South Lane and Parsons, just below the Village Point building where Fitness Loft lives. So this is a picture that Lisa Snyder with the Neighborhood Design Center sent us yesterday. So you can kind of see there's a concrete pad, and then there's this trellis-like structure. And then this over here on the kind of middle left is the base of the sign. So the entire structure should be in place by the end of this week. They'll come back next week to kind of do some of the finishing around the bolts, and then also they will install the sign. So we are so excited to have this in place, and we will be continuing work on a landscaping plan, and we will have like a dedication, once probably it warms up a little bit. So anyway, congratulations to the Neighborhood Design Center. Thanks to Nationwide Children's for the majority of the funding, and anyone else that had any part of this. So, all right. Moving right along to our topic for today. All right, so this is our topic, the Southside development. I'm gonna quickly introduce the speakers, and then I'm gonna let them kind of speak on their own behalf. So, and I really didn't discuss any order of how we were going to, discuss things, but I think I'll go north to south. So Curtis Davis is the zoning chair and the business at large representative to the Columbus Southside Area Commission. And Curtis is holding a special meeting this Saturday at 11 a.m. at the Barrack Rec Center to discuss a proposed development on Livingston Avenue across from Nationwide Children's Hospital. So that's the first topic. And then Brian Higgins is here. Brian represents Parsons Avenue Redevelopment Corporation, as well as his own development company, Arch City. And we'll be here to discuss the Eleanor, which is development at the corner of Stanley and Parsons. And then Erin Cres has multiple developments around the Parsons area. He's the prime for Cres Companies. He's also a trustee, as is Curtis. And we'll be here to discuss the Whittier Bruck Place project, the condos at Gates and Parsons, and the new townhouses behind the Kroger, and anything else that he's working on that we may not be aware of. And then Mike Primo is also here to discuss the Southside Cafe and the housing development on Parsons, where the community housing network used to be. Did I miss anybody, or did I miss anything? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. I don't know, Curtis, if you were planning to share anything from the packet. I can if you'd like, or we can just talk about what the proposal is, whichever you'd prefer.
I think we'll just talk about what's going to take place. So this project has been like the Giant Eagle project, a 2.5-year ordeal of trying to get the developer to move forward with it. This is going to be a mixed use building. Right now, they haven't indicated us what kind of restaurant is going to go in, but there is some indication that there will be a restaurant going into this property. We will have the site, or not the site, but the informational meeting on Saturday to hopefully, get some of those questions nailed down and everything. This is supposed to be going to the Civic in February. Mike Shannon sent me an email yesterday saying he was waiting for more city staff feedback, and I'm confused because Kathy said that we had gotten all the city staff reports, so I'm trying to figure out what's going on with that. But this will be an interesting project to complement out Livingston Avenue in that kind of rough area right there to bring some livelihood back to the area. Just as some side notes, we do have some other projects via the commission, some in the way of housing too. We've got the other one that just came before us for affordable housing from a Boston firm that is going to be doing 220, I think it's 228 units off of Alum Creek, Winslow, just north of 104. So that's going to be another project. I don't think that's going to have much of a pushback, on that project, but that's kind of the high level update. Hopefully folks will attend the meeting on Saturday and get more information on the project for Livingston.
Yeah, and just to be, clear, it's on the west side, west of Parsons, on the south side of Livingston, where the Shane's Gourmet Market building has been vacant for many years, and also includes the Enterprise car lot. That's correct?
That's correct. Correct. Yep.
Yeah. So it'll go pretty much back to the alley behind there, which I think technically is Blinkner. And as Curtis mentioned, I think it's a mixed use proposal with some retail on the first floor and then some residential above. And I guess I should mention, Carla, obviously Nationwide Children's is currently working on a variety of projects on the north side of Livingston, not technically in the Columbus South Side area, it's technically in the Livingston Avenue Commission boundaries. But you can see that construction. I think the surgical center is the one next, close, just east of the building at Grant.
Correct.
And then the research building, which is closer to Parsons.
And the Livingston Ambulatory Center is right over there as well.
Yeah, and then there's a new parking garage next to the Behavioral Health Pavilion. And,
yes.
Between that and the conference center.
And the conference center, and then basically a power hub. But yes, that's it. And a core and orthopedic station, but that's closer to Parsons Avenue, actually.
Yeah, and then of course there's also work being done on the south side of Livingston, east of Parsons, for the Ronald McDonald House, and that's come before the commission a couple different times. I think that development is ready to begin.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And just from a PAMA perspective, the trustees do take a vote on all commercial variance applications. In support or not in support. Sometimes we write letters of support if they're requested of us, and we support them, obviously. And then as the PAMA representative to the Columbus Southside Area Commission, I vote according to how the trustees vote, right? So I may have personal opinions, and I can certainly voice those on the zoning committee meetings or as a civic resident, but when I vote for the area commission, I vote according to the trustees' approval or disapproval. So that's how that works, just so you know. By the way, the one of the reasons Shannon may be holding off, the staff comments on that development do request a parking study and a traffic study. And so the area commission does not vote generally until all of the required studies are ready and have been reviewed by city staff. So, we want to make sure as an area commission that we're fully informed by the experts on the city staff around any impacts of parking or or traffic on the neighborhoods or on the thoroughfares. So that's part of that too. Any questions about the Livingston project, which is still in the early phases? Or any questions for Carla about Nationwide Children's, since I kind of threw her into the mix? All righty. Brian Higgins, have I heard your voice this morning? Are you?
I am here.
Nice picture. This is your development on Broad Street.
Yes, as an aside, we're about 2 weeks from opening, so that's very exciting, and it's kind of like having a baby, like it's this long process, and now we're at the end, and you feel like you're utterly unprepared. So don't tell my
Nice.
children.
Do you want to first give an overview of yourself and also Park as a partner of PAMA?
Sure. I'm Brian Higgins. I run a small development firm called Arch City Development. We've been active since 2008 and do a variety of things, including consulting and planning, as well as bricks and sticks construction. In 2014, we helped launch the Parsons Avenue Redevelopment Corporation, which is a small nonprofit designed to engage in transactional real estate and to leverage the resources that nonprofits can have access to that for-profit entities don't. And so we've managed to do a few projects on the avenue since then. One of the things we've done is we acquired and renovated 2 homes on the corner of Parsons and Stanley, 921 and 923 Parsons Avenue. However, as we thought about it, especially as the dynamics in the housing market have evolved over the past several years, we thought, having two affordably priced units at this location is all well and good. But, if we were to tear these units down and maybe construct a new building, we could maximize the site. And so, we have been through the rezoning process, and the plan is to demolish those units and to construct a new building with 12 rental units, a little bit of commercial space, about 800-900 square feet, somewhere in that range. Parking is all self-contained on site. And so we have been going through some fundraising, both on the public side and communicating with the county and the city, as well as some private fundraising. We sell bricks and have the opportunity, to do a capital campaign related stuff as we talk to other entities, corporate entities as well. And so I don't have any significant updates other than if this was happening 30 days from now, I think I'd have a really big update. And so I say all that to tell you to stand by. I think we're going to have an exciting revelation to unveil, but I can't do it yet for a couple reasons. So I'm sorry to provide the proverbial tease, but just think how engaged you'll want to stay in this process, because gosh, in February, there'll be something really exciting to talk about.
Do you want to talk, Brian, a little bit about the commercial space on the first floor? And I know you ran a survey last January, I believe, so about a year ago today, where you were, because we've talked about that at some of the stakeholders meetings, but what kinds of commercial interest people have for the avenue, or what you as a developer think about the current commercial market space right now?
It's still a dicey time. I think we're still seeing an attrition, I think, in especially in smaller businesses as we wind our way through the pandemic. And you're right, we did do a survey, and a lot of the response the people had to the survey were things that you might expect, heavy on restaurants, heavy on types of restaurants that don't really have much of a presence in the neighborhood. And that's all well and good. Frankly, I hope we stay away from a restaurant, only because restaurants are the most volatile of all, potential quasi-retail tenants that are out there. I read various statistics over the years about what percentage of restaurants fail in the first 18 months, and it's it's significant. And so not only for, the economic stability of the project, and I hate to see people, invest their life savings in a restaurant concept that then fails, especially with, who knows what's going to happen from a public health standpoint. So, in a perfect world, there's a nice accountant or attorney or somebody who wants to come in there. Also, I think helps to, I've lived above restaurants and bars in my life, and actually was no big deal. But when I think about, there are some tenants I'm sure who would prefer, a tenant on the ground floor if their, residence is directly above it, that is A, operating during normal business hours, and B, kind of a quieter, bookish kind of tenant. But we'll see. We haven't really done any proper marketing. In part, once we begin construction, it's still a 12-month process, and folks you talk to, who are out there looking for space are kind of looking for space now. There's not a lot of, most people don't have the ability to put a pin in it for a year, and I understand that. So, as we define our construction schedule, we'll be able to start to focus on what that tenant looks like, and hopefully we'll have a better understanding too of where we are in the pandemic, and if and how that has any impact on us.
Thank you, Brian. Any questions for Brian? Or, you didn't mention East Public, but that's certainly a big success that Park has had on the avenue. So any questions, or does anybody have any comments? We'll certainly look forward to an announcement in another month.
Thank you.
All righty, Erin, you have a few different things. Can you hear me?
Yeah, how's it going this morning?
Good. Welcome back from Florida.
Thanks. I turned my camera on, but oh, there I am. All right. Yeah. I think everybody here pretty much knows me, but Erin Cres, principal of Cres Companies, small and growing urban real estate developer and investor. I know you mentioned a few of our projects. So Eisen 359 in Marion Village is a 20-unit townhome project. It'll be a for sale project. Has wound its way through the entitlement process. We're going to council January 10th, hopefully for final approval. We're about 50% through our design phase and engineering on it, and working through financing. So if all goes well, we break ground sometime later this year. I noticed some people have commented that a fence went up. It's not exactly a construction fence yet. It is to control some behavior that was less than desirable happening in and around the property. So it is not a sign we're breaking ground, unfortunately. So that's the townhomes. The condos on Parsons and Gates, there's 10 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath condos that we brought back to life that were vacant buildings. It was a long, challenging process through COVID and the issues that come with 100-and-some-year-old buildings. But as of a couple weeks ago, we do have our final occupancy on both buildings finally. So we're going through some final punch and touch up and that kind of stuff now. And the back ordered fence and cantilevered parking access controlled gate and stuff that has been back ordered for 4 months went in last week. So I'm really happy about that. So hopefully we have those listed on the market here in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Once everything's cleaned up on the site. The carriage house down from you, Kathy, has been a interesting challenge of sewer issue after sewer issue. And if you want to talk to me before you come with yours, let me know. The city had reviewed our existing sewer line and said it was good. And then after we dug it up, even though the video showed that it was 4-inch all the way, it somehow dawned on them that it was 4-inch, not going to 6-inch. And they won't let me tie into it. And they also want it replaced, a section that was never been replaced under the alley. So that sewer issue has cost us now another 3 weeks before our excavator can come back, probably 3 to 4 months of breaking ground and about $30,000 that I was counting on. But hopefully in the next 3 to 4 weeks, you'll actually see a footer and foundation if all goes well there. Next door at the Whittier and Bruck properties, our food hall project is been delayed forever. Our designers and team are out of New York City, and they continually have COVID absences. So we're still working through the financing of that project, the design phase, and we are at a point where we're interviewing operators. Let's see, what else do we got here?
You could mention your office on Forest Street and any changes that are planned for that.
Yeah, so it was a bit of an excessive space for just myself most of the time. And then Josh is a realtor, my husband. So Josh is a realtor with Core Ohio Realty Advisors. And so we actually moved out, let them move in, and now we're sharing the space with them because we just don't need much of a presence in an office space right now. So it is a little bit closer to what it was meant to be as more of a full service really office, because they also offer design services and will help investors with permit sets and that kind of stuff. That's really what they cater to, which is, a lot of what's going on in the neighborhoods. So yeah, it's Core Ohio now. What else do we got? We haven't announced it yet, but I am venturing a little bit out of the south side, and we are working on a 48-unit apartment project on Taylor Avenue in the Near East Side that we hope to probably start the entitlement process on in February. Oh yeah, one more. I acquired 1308 Parsons Avenue, which is a house, and it was a body shop in the back. We actually close tomorrow. So we have a tenant lined up for the warehouse / office space in the back. We've just been cleaning 50 years of grime out, and we hope to start renovations on the house probably next week. I think that pretty much wraps up what we have going on right now.
So one piece of attention I want to draw is for both the Livingston proposal and for Brian and also for Erin, and almost all of these properties have been vacant land or vacant buildings, which serves no one, right? So
I am a sucker for them.
what's that?
That I am a sucker for them.
Same with our Parsons project on attended before. So, I think it's especially ideal for vacant or underutilized in the case of the two houses at Stanley and Parsons projects to, kind of be put to practical use and to bring either new residents or new businesses or both to the avenue, because the more people and the more projects and the more vitality that we bring to the avenue or to the south side in general, the less desirable behaviors I think will become are realized, right? So I think that that's all good news. So that's my 2 cents, and the same will be when we talk about the next projects. But are any questions for Erin or any questions about his projects?
I have one. This is Mike Green. Hey, Erin, could you say a few more words about that design service that Core Ohio offers and give an example of what someone would do?
Yeah, sure. So it's through Amanda Williams' team. She's a partner with Misty Lynn, which is the owner of Core Ohio. Um, they actually work regularly with the city and architects. They'll come in, measure out a home or space, draw up full plans, and then have an architect approve them so that you can go get a building permit and actually build based off of it, whether it's a kitchen or full on removing walls or you name it. They're not an architect. They're more of a design service that can get you approved plans.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's something a lot of,
Yeah, a lot of people are like don't know where to start and they just do things like, oh, I'm going to go rip out this kitchen and don't pull a permit. They are the kind of team that makes it easy and can explain to you how you should be going about, say, a house flip the right way.
yeah. No, it seems like that's something people around here uh, need, and I
Yeah,
didn't
so
realize that service was offered.
so they largely, but not exclusively, I believe, work with investor clients. So if you are a more credible, say, house flipper that wants to do things by the book, they provide the services, and then Core Ohio clearly comes in and sells the renovated home as well. So there's an alignment of interest between Core Ohio and the design services to make sure that they have as good of a product as possible to sell.
Thanks.
Any other questions for Erin? And obviously, we'll be looking forward to updates from you also as your projects progress. I think one of the things I've become aware of over the multiple years here, kind of watching projects and zoning and builds and so on, is this process is long. A lot of surprises. You mentioned the sewer behind Whittier, but there's a lot of infrastructure that's kind of old, and trying to put older buildings back to practical use when you can. There's a lot of city requirements, and there's a lot of frankly risk on the projects that you have to really kind of, I think, love the South Side and love some of the buildings to want to invest in. So I think that that's an important thing. I guess the second thing I want to mention is it is PAMA membership renewal time. So we encourage all of our stakeholders to join PAMA. The entry level fee is literally $25. So it's a very low barrier. And all of you that are, getting new tenants or, putting new commercial buildings, would like to at least make sure that you invite folks to PAMA, whether it's to start with the stakeholders meetings or to kind of an entry level membership. And that way, when we do newsletters, we do spotlight a business, and this this Core Ohio Design Service might be one that would be an interesting spotlight for a future newsletter. So there's my advertisement for today.
I actually haven't used their services yet. I just know them, and I happen to be leasing to them on 2 different buildings. So I've seen some of their drawings and work and know what they do. We're actually going to use their services for the first time on 1308 Parsons Avenue because they're also my tenant.
Right.
So I'll give feedback how it works out.
All right, thank you. And I was thinking at some point we may want to invite some of the realtors to a roundtable also, right? The commercial realtors especially that operate on the south side. So so that's another topic, and we can discuss topics at the end of the meeting. So Mike Primo, thank you for your patience. Mike is with the Community Development for All People, and I will let you complete your introduction and introduce your project.
Thanks, Kathy. Mike Primo, I'm the Director of Engagement for Community Development for All People. Really excited to be here today. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk about an exciting project that we have down on the south end of the south side. I do feel bad about following Erin though, because I think he's got like a room rater 10 out of 10 for his backdrop, and mine's not quite as good. So I got a little background envy going on there, Erin. So I'll work through it though, I promise. So down at the 1900 block of Parsons Avenue, there's a building that was formerly owned by Community Housing Network. Way back in the day, it was a boarding house called the South End Hotel for basically folks who were coming in from out of town, most likely to work at the steel mill, that they could get a cheap room to rent while they were looking for more permanent housing before they brought their families up. Community Housing Network, it went through many iterations, but Community Housing Network was using it, and 24 units of very small apartment units. And when I say very small, it's about the size of one of these boxes on a Zoom screen. These were folks that were on what's called permanent supportive housing, meaning they couldn't work. So they were on some kind of assistance program that helped them pay their rent. They've moved into a new facility that is constructed behind the Maloney Health Center on Parsons. They gave us the building. Our partnership with the Kelly Company gave us the building, and City Council gave us, no, City of Columbus gave us $1 million to fix up the building, to do the renovations. So we're excited that these are going to be 24 units of probably the most affordable housing on the South Side. So it'll be perfect for folks who are single occupancy, single on a fixed income, low income, or some kind of assistance program to give them a nice, safe place to live. Even the great part about the building is it's got retail space on the first floor. So as we were dreaming up what we could do with that space, we came up with what we're calling the South End Cafe. And it's basically a nonprofit coffee shop. I don't know that it's the only nonprofit coffee shop in the city of Columbus, but we're looking into that. There are other coffee shops that do good work, but they're still for profit. But this will be, if not the only one, then one of the few nonprofit coffee shops in the city. And it's three goals. First off is to provide community space on the south end of Columbus, on the south end of Parsons Avenue, where folks can come together. And especially those 24 tenants of the apartments will give them a place to hang out. Number two is to give access to healthy food. There's great places like Roots Cafe where folks can get a healthy meal. But if they're looking to buy something to grab and go for lunch, healthy options on that part of Parsons Avenue are non-existent. And number three, to give employment opportunities to people who have been having difficulty getting into the workforce, whether they've been incarcerated or whether they've been out of the workforce caring for a loved one or raising a child. So we're really focusing on employing people who have barriers to getting employment elsewhere. These will be well-paying jobs, $15 an hour to start. And then the idea is these will be part-time positions, and then we will work to transition these folks into full-time career track positions in other organizations like Nationwide Children's Hospital. We have someone from Nationwide Children's is on our board, on the cafe board, not CD4AP board, although we do have somebody from Nationwide Children's on the CD4AP board too. So, we're working to identify other employers who would be willing to say, if I call you up and I say, Kathy Green's been working with us for 8 months and she's a great worker and she's very responsible and shows up on time and works hard, that they will agree to give them priority placement in their hiring process. So it's job training, but it's job training that happens while they're earning a paycheck. And in the process, we'll work with them to learn how to write a resume, how to sit for a job interview, interpersonal and customer service skills, which will be invaluable for them as they go on to their next position. So we are looking at, for the cafe, we are looking at probably a late March open, if not early April open, and we'll hold our breaths on construction for that, but construction is beginning. And then the apartments themselves, I believe, will be coming online in the spring. So that's kind of a quick overview of the South End Hotel and South End Cafe.
Questions for Mike? So the cafe, the open hours are breakfast, lunch type, or do you have any idea?
So right now we're looking at like a 6 to 3, I think, Monday through Friday, and then like an 8 to 1, something like that on Saturdays. So it'll be, you'll be able to get a cup of coffee and a grab and go sandwich on your way to work in the morning. And if you're looking for some mid-morning or late morning meetings, we're your place. So come on by. And we will also be, sorry, I forgot to mention, we will also be roasting our own coffee. So you will be able to buy South End Cafe coffee to take with you to your home or office. So we're really excited about the wholesale opportunities that will allow us to have.
So we need a dark roast decaf bean, please.
Okay, I'm making a
Or
note
to
of that
come
right
by
now.
at anywhere besides Stops.
Okay, dark roast decaf. We'll corner the market.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So yeah, I think that's pretty exciting. And of course, community development for all people is a PAMA member. They have a number of operations on the avenue, including obviously the church itself, the free store, the connections space, which was also in a vacant building that was fairly recently repurposed. The fresh food market, which replaced a liquor drive-through or beer wine drive-through. Oh goodness, the All People's Arts in the Parsons Village 2. What am I missing?
On Parsons, Parsons Village 1 is also, so we've got Parsons Village 1 and 2 are both senior housing developments. Parsons Village 2 has retail space on the first floor. One of the tenants is the All People Arts Gallery. We're really excited about having them there.
Yeah, and then of course there's other projects, including affordable housing on West Jenkins, which is fairly recently online. So, all right, I have a couple other bits on the south side. I did attend about 2 or 3 weeks ago a workshop that the Columbus Landmarks Foundation sponsored, a visioning workshop for the Nagy building, which is the southwest corner of, I believe, Hinman and Parsons. Was a shoe repair shop for a number of years. It's a little brick building in block building in Hungarian Village, and there's actually an older part of that next door, which I hadn't noticed, but has a little gable roof. So they had a visioning workshop with some of the Hungarian Village neighbors, some of the other related owners. It's their first project, I believe, or maybe the second, to try to take one of their endangered properties and to try to help find and ensure the renovation of that project versus having it removed and replaced. And there's a lot of history there. And I got a ton of material from the Columbus Landmarks and Doreen Sauter, and I haven't absorbed it all yet, but if some of it can be scanned and shared, we'll try to make that happen. Jay and Mary Cheplowitz were also at that same workshop at my table. They own the old fire station that's across the street. And they do not have any development plans yet for that space. So that's still an open building to be, put into repurpose. But and then the last one that I can think of to announce is the Open Shelter Board moved into the big gray building on Parsons between Siebert and Zimfer, I think, on the west side of Parsons. And that opening was yesterday. They will be supporting the unhoused people on the south side or anyone that can get there. They're open Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They provide a lunch, and then they also provide some clothing services, some additional food services. They have an outreach coordinator. So I think it would be a great partner to the South Side to kind of assist us with resources around supporting the unhoused, and also, working towards, finding them a better place than where they are now. There was quite a conversation at the area commission meeting last week about providing restroom facilities that were accessible in other time periods, so that, again, the folks that don't have a home or access to a bathroom can use one versus, being, necessary to relieve themselves on private property. That will be a continuing conversation. There has been some work on that topic in the downtown area and the Discovery District. And I think, during COVID and with the shelters full, and with, with the economic situation, and just the persistence of housing unavailability, it's a need that we really need to solve for. And there have been some requests for PAMA to take an active role in that conversation. Yeah, I guess I'll stop with that. Any questions about any of that? I do have the chief operating officer's contact information if anybody needs information on that. It's well, it's a phone number mostly, so but it's 1037 Parsons. Anybody else think of anything else on the south side, Parsons especially, or Parsons around, that should be, mentioned as a new venture, a new opportunity? All right, is Beth still on, or did she have to drop?
I'm here.
Oh, there you are, Beth. Thank you.
Yes.
Beth is our neighborhood liaison for the south side of the far south side. She has been working with us most recently on street lighting on Parsons. Mike and I did a survey, I think it was in November, end of November, like Thanksgiving weekend, because when we gone to the area commission meeting at Barrick, Parsons was really dark, and we found that there were about 60 street lights out altogether, just on our part of Parsons. And so Beth's been working with her folks, and I have noticed a significant improvement. I won't say they're 100% back, but there's many more lights. And these are the things the city can help us with, the 311 tickets. I've opened a couple recently around graffiti, illegal dumping, obviously the street lights, the street signs, all of those things. We all need to be paying attention around our environs and notice, 60 streetlights didn't go out overnight. They went out over a period of time. And so, the more we can kind of stay on top of these things, the less we have to, do one big blow. But that's my advertisement for you, Beth. Please, you want to share?
Thank you. And when it comes to things like streetlights, or even I've been getting a lot of complaints about before the holidays about missed pickups when it came to refuse and recycling. So any of those, always call 311, start that ticket. But when it comes to a situation like what Kathy mentioned about Parsons, where all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, there's like 60 lights out, definitely get me involved so then I can troubleshoot in a different way. And so some of the things that we've got going on, and I'm mentioning that is, I know right now we had let me remember the address. It's not on Parsons, but it's on South 4th. There was a situation, we had SWAT and everybody work on this property together and to clean it up. And then now I'm getting reports of that there's activity again. And so my first step is like, if you see narcotics activity or you see perceived illegal activity like this that's happening at this house, and I know we've had this on Parsons corridor before, but do call it into 311 and then you're welcome to follow up with me on it. So then we can get our community liaison officer, if we need to get CRT involved, any of those teams. So, so as I said, just elevate. And I do also want to give, when we were talking about all the great things CD4AP is doing, I want to definitely mention the Southside Neighborhood Leadership Academy is open for applications, which is something that I always tell people about too. And I know that we've got a few people on this call who I think have gone through it. And it's a great opportunity for anybody to learn more about the South Side and everything. But here, I'm physically actually right now in the Reeve Avenue Center. We're continue to serve our community. There's free lunch Monday through Friday still, 11 to 2. The cafe is not reopened due to COVID. That is still a challenge yet to come. But the other services, Boys and Girls Club, the Southside Learning Center is open. And then there's also opportunities for volunteering through Mid-Ohio Food Bank. If you know a team that ever wants to do, hey, we want to go and wrap some silverware or serve a meal, that is opportunity. With the rest of the city of Columbus, I think most of you get my emails. If you don't, I can add you to my email list where I will give you kind of the snippets of what's going on. The next event that our department's doing is we are going to have a march for Martin Luther King Day. And I just, as we were on the call, kind of got the details on it. So on Monday, we're going to be starting from City Hall at 4:30. And it's not going to be, right now, the details I have is that there's going to be a march. I think we're going to go down maybe Broad Street, but I know it's going to start at City Hall at 4:30 if you want to march with us in celebration of Martin Luther King Day. So.
Thank you. And Mike, I see you raised your hand.
Yeah, so Beth, since you mentioned streetlights, it's really dark over here in the Southside Can neighborhood, over by the high school. I did put in a 311 ticket yesterday or the day before, but it's not like it's like they're all out. So something's going on. It's not like a couple of streetlights out.
We've had a few, and I'm glad you mentioned that. So I'll follow up. And is that Ann Street and a few other?
Yeah, it's like if you go Deschler, Heil, Stewart. It looks like it's basically east of the, east of the high school.
Okay. So thank you. I can follow up on that. We had a situation in Southern Orchard several months ago, and it was fixed before Halloween, which is why I mentioned the collaborative where they had a few different streets out, and it was that situation was a contractor was doing some other work, turned something off. We, the city, didn't know the contractor turned something off. And so that was actually we were able to fix that before Halloween. So I appreciate, Mike, that you let me know that around the high school that there's several streets, so we can look that up.
I'm doing my part with the Christmas lights, but it only goes so far. So
we understand. And thanks so much.
You.
You had a great Christmas holiday shop. I've heard a lot of great positive, and thank you once again for
Christmas shop is our favorite time of year. It really is amazing. 500 kids we got Christmas gifts and toys and clothes and bikes for. So thank you.
Which is so great because we had such a need for that. So thank you.
Thank you.
So other questions for me at the city? Okay. No, well, definitely. Like, I think there may be only 2 people on here who don't get my emails. If you want my email, it's bfkinney@columbus.gov. Or Kathy, if you want to share everybody my email that they can sign up for my email list. Because I don't think, I'm like, there's at least 2 people on here who don't get it. So
Okay. Yep, we can include that in the notes from the meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
I did think of one more small thing. So some, not for you, Beth, but just in general, maybe for you later. So, we have had some conversations around Lockhorn Avenue and the streetscape between Freebus and Road, which is really laid out more in a suburban style development with, bigger parking lots kind of in the front with the businesses kind of behind. And there really is it really is no streetscape, right? There are sidewalks, but it's a very flat development. There's no curb. You know, people can kind of park anywhere because there's no curb, and you know, and there's some grass, but it's also cinder and it's also dirt, and it's, you know, it's not lit necessarily particularly well. So Tom Less is an area commissioner, but he's also a professional engineer. And he is one of the advisors to the Ohio State University, one of their workshop classes. So there's a small group that in last semester worked on a proposed streetscape improvement plan for Lockhorn Road, and they'll continue that into this second semester. And he is also going to then, you know, research, you know, grants through the Build Back Better infrastructure funding and things like that that could perhaps be used to for that project. There's a second project that he's advising on also, which is a public service committee interest, which is the idea of building a pedestrian bridge over the railroad tracks to kind of tie in Alum Creek and some of the residential property near Alvis House over to effectively, I think it's Moeller in that vicinity, and that would then allow better access to recreation and parks, and you know, just better access between those parts of the south side, which are really cut off unless you're driving. So you know, we'll see again what happens with this, but it's nice that Tom and the Ohio State University are, you know, investing some of their student cycles in some projects that the South Side Area Commission and the Public Service Committee and PAMA, you know, kind of brought forward as things that we would like to see improved. So so there's that, and again, we'll have updates, you know, probably closer to the end of the second semester on that. Any questions in general or any other topics anyone wants to share?
Hi, my name's Gina Shelton, and I'm with Auditor Cinziano's office. I just wanted to take a second to introduce myself. I have been with the office since March of 2019, but I recently moved to external engagement, and business organizations and civic groups like this are part of my core constituency. So I've hopped on. This is my first one, but I'll drop my email in the chat. But if any of you need something from the office, please feel free to let me know. I'm happy to work with you or chat with you, or if there are other events you think we should attend. If you know the auditor, you know we love to be out at everything.
Well, welcome, Gina, and thank you for attending and sharing that information. And of course, Auditor Cinziano is a good friend to the South Side, and has been since, you know, since he's been in service. So, so great. Thank you for joining. Any questions for Gina, or any questions she can take back to the auditor's office? There is one downside to rehabbing buildings. I can tell you, your taxes go up. So we happened to get a letter on that topic fairly recently. So
This is true.
We all need to pay our share of taxes, thankfully. So, all right, thank you, Gina. All right, well, does anyone have any suggested topics for next month? If not, the board, you know, we'll come up with something. But if you have anything burning that you would like us to invite speakers to, or topics to share, either let me know right now, or you can always, there's an intake form on the parsonsarea.com website, or you can email parsonsarea@gmail.com. But any other thoughts there?
Kathy, I have one. My name's Stephanie. I haven't attended in a really long time. Prospective business in the neighborhood. The question I have, we don't have to talk about it now, but maybe for next month, if you wouldn't mind considering it, is PAMA's plan for supporting and engaging the existing small businesses and prospective businesses. I know this was a lot on the development side, but I'd love to hear what PAMA's future plan is for supporting the existing businesses and growing that arm, because I noticed there's not a lot of business attendance at this particular meeting. I don't know if that's all the time. You know, I want to get more involved from that perspective. So
Thanks, Dave, Stephanie. Yeah, nice to see you again. It's been a little while. That was actually a topic, we do set strategic goals for the year at our November meeting. And that was one topic that we discussed was kind of a small business incubator. We did have ECDI attend a PAMA stakeholders meeting a few months ago, and they of course have small business resources as well. There's also a small business agenda that the city supports in the economic development department. We had the economic development department come and speak to us early last year. That small business agenda is still kind of being realized, I guess I'll use that term. And I did notice that in the city council committee realignment, that ownership moved from Council President Hardin to new council member Nick Bankston. So we can, and Lisa Snyder, who is with the Neighborhood Design Center and sits on our board also, is a member of the Small Business Agenda Committee. So, we can definitely revisit that conversation. I think we can always do more.
If I could clarify something, I think for me, it's not so much about the resources available, it's more about PAMA's promotion of existing business, like PAMA's actual activity and engagement with promoting the existing businesses in the area. Like, is there a plan or, regarding the promotion of and engaging with the businesses directly, not necessarily from a resource or things like that.
Okay, gotcha.
You know what I mean?
I do, yeah. So we'll take that back to the executive board and the communications committee also, which Lisa also happens to chair. So there you go.
Well, so let me actually, Kathy, let me chime in to that, Stephanie. One of the struggles has been that we engage a lot of folks to join PAMA. To Kathy's point, it's $25 to join. And normally most organizations, whether it's a chamber of commerce or what have you and stuff, will promote those members, and they usually don't promote non-members. So one of the things I would encourage you to, if folks that want to get engaged, one, to Kathy's point, we have these monthly meetings and stuff, to also have those folks join PAMA, because there's other benefits like the SOCA with, benefits of BWC and health insurance and different things like that. So it's kind of a two-way, conversation or two-way vision or what have you.
Totally get it. I guess I was just looking at the website here because I'm on it right now, and reading the who we are part of it, and the organization that promotes and supports existing businesses. If it's strictly those that are members, then I totally get that for sure. If it's supporting all businesses, regardless of they're a member or not, that's the part that I guess I'm most curious about. PAMA's engagement with.
It's a good topic for our next call. So we'll put some thought into that and what kind of structure that we want to bring. So
Thanks.
Sure. All right. Well, I'm gonna call this meeting closed. Please again reach out if you have any questions for any of us, and have a great rest of day. And if I don't see you for another month, then I'll hope to see you in February. Thanks.
Thanks, Kathy.